fires. When exactly this tornado actually touched down, however, is a little murky, as the actual base of the storm is enormous.
Positioned to avoid being capsized. But a large train of monster waves, passengers say 3 of them, rose up.
The ocean strikes without warning. The sky explodes with electrical fury. The earth itself turns liquid and flows. Today, you'll witness 12 of the most violent forces of nature ever captured on camera. Moments when humans realized exactly how powerless we are. From lightning that struck a beach full of swimmers to tornadoes that consumed entire cities, every moment is real, documented, and survived by someone who barely lived to tell the story. Number 12 involves waves so large they make professional surfers look like insects. Let's begin. Number 12. Lightning strike on Venice Beach. 13 people in one bolt. Imagine lying on a crowded beach when lightning strikes the sand, and the electrical current travels through wet ground into 13 people simultaneously. July 27, 2014. A lightning bolt struck Venice Beach in California during a rare summer thunderstorm, injuring 13 people, some lying on the sand, others standing in shallow water. The bolt hit the sand and traveled outward through the moisture-saturated beach, conducting electricity through anyone in contact with the ground. Witnesses described a blinding flash, then people screaming and collapsing. Lightning doesn't have to hit you directly to injure or kill you. Ground current from a nearby strike can travel 100 feet through wet soil or sand. 8 victims were hospitalized with burns and cardiac irregularities. Sand conducts electricity when wet, and a crowded beach becomes a circuit board when lightning decides where to strike. Number 11. Nazare Giant Wave, the 100-foot monster. Imagine a wave so tall it dwarfs a 7-story building, and a surfer is just a speck on its face, trying to outrun the crashing lip. Nazare, Portugal produces the largest consistently rideable waves on Earth, due to an underwater canyon that funnels swells into massive walls. On November 8, 2017, Rodrigo Coxa rode what would be officially measured as an 80-foot wave, the largest wave ever surfed. Video footage shows the scale as he drops down the face. He looks like an ant on a moving mountain. The wave is so large it has its own weather system. Winds blow up the face, spray flies, and the curl forms a cavern. Fall from the top, and you're not hitting water. You're hitting concrete at terminal velocity. The impact can shatter bones and knock you unconscious before you sink. Nazare proves that humans can ride waves as tall as buildings, but barely, and only with jet ski assistance. Number 10. El Reno Tornado, the monster that hunted storm chasers. Imagine being the world's most experienced storm chaser, and the tornado you're tracking suddenly turns and hunts you. May 31, 2013. Dashcam footage captured the widest tornado ever recorded. 2.6 miles wide, wider than Manhattan in places, suddenly expanding, accelerating, and changing direction. It wasn't the strongest tornado, just an EF3, but it generated sub-vortices with winds exceeding 295 miles per hour, the second fastest winds ever measured on Earth. Tim Samaras, his son Paul, and colleague Carl Young died when the tornado doubled in size in 30 seconds and cut off every escape route. Their vehicle was found mangled, thrown hundreds of yards from the road. El Reno didn't follow predictions. It wrote its own rules. Number 9. Moore, Oklahoma Tornado, the school destroyer. Imagine an EF5 tornado with winds over 200 miles per hour traveling directly through 2 elementary schools during afternoon classes. May 20, 2013. Just 9 days before El Reno, another massive tornado struck Moore, Oklahoma, with winds exceeding 210 miles per hour. News helicopter footage captured the massive wedge tornado over a mile wide, plowing through residential neighborhoods and directly hitting Plaza Towers Elementary School. 7 children died when the school collapsed. The tornado was on the ground for 40 minutes, traveled 17 miles, destroyed 1,200 homes, and caused $2 billion in damage. At peak intensity, it was removing pavement from roads and debarking trees, indicators of extreme EF5 damage. This was Moore's third violent tornado in 14 years, making it one of the most tornado-prone cities in America. Number 8. MS Louis Majesty Cruise Ship, the rogue wave that hit Deck 5. Imagine relaxing on a cruise ship when a 26-foot wave crashes through reinforced glass on a deck 5 stories above the waterline. March 3, 2010. The MS Louis Majesty was sailing off the coast of France in rough seas when a wave estimated at 26 feet struck the forward section of the ship, shattering windows on Deck 5, approximately 50 feet above the waterline. 2 passengers were killed by flying glass and furniture. Over a dozen were injured. Cruise ships are designed to handle large waves, but this strike occurred in an area considered protected from direct wave impact. Passengers in the dining area described seeing a wall of water through the windows seconds before the glass exploded inward. The ship diverted to Barcelona for emergency repairs. Cruise ships can handle most seas, but rogue waves don't respect engineering calculations. Number 7. Phoenix Microburst, the invisible wind wall. Imagine clear blue sky overhead. Then wind slams down at over 100 miles per hour from directly above you. July 8, 2016. Phoenix residents captured one of the most powerful microbursts ever recorded in an urban area. A column of descending air that hit ground and spread outward at 115 miles per hour. Microbursts are invisible until they kick up debris. Trees that stood for decades snapped like matchsticks. Semi-trucks flipped on Interstate 10. The entire event lasted 5 minutes. Microbursts killed multiple aircraft in the 70s and 80s before meteorologists understood what they were. The plane encounters headwinds that suddenly reverse to tailwinds, stripping away lift in seconds. The deadliest weather comes from collapsing nothing. Number 6. Joplin Tornado, the wedge that erased a city. Imagine a tornado a mile wide moving through your city at highway speeds with winds that peel pavement from roads. May 22, 2011. The Joplin, Missouri tornado was rated EF5, the highest rating, with winds exceeding 200 miles per hour. Security cameras captured the moment the wedge tornado, so wide it looked like a wall of rain rather than a funnel, moved through the city for 38 minutes. It destroyed everything in a 6-mile path, killed 161 people, and caused $3 billion in damage. The tornado was so powerful, it drove a 2x4 piece of lumber through a concrete block. Survivors described the sound as continuous explosion, like standing next to a jet engine. When tornadoes become a mile wide, there's nowhere to hide, only structures that fail slower than others. Number 5. China landslide, the mountain that buried a village. Imagine living in a mountain village when the entire hillside liquefies and flows at 60 miles per hour, burying everything in seconds. June 24, 2017. Security cameras and residents captured a massive landslide in Shinmo Village, Sichuan Province, that buried an entire village under millions of cubic meters of rock and soil. The landslide traveled at estimated speeds of 60 miles per hour, giving residents virtually no warning. Over 100 people were buried. The footage shows the mountain simply disintegrating. What was solid rock and forest becomes a fluid wave of debris that flows like water, but destroys like concrete. Rescue operations were complicated by continuing instability. The entire slope was fractured, and additional collapses were likely. Mountain villages exist on the assumption that mountains are stable. Sometimes that assumption is wrong. Number 4. 2011 Japan tsunami. The wave that overtopped seawalls. Imagine 40-foot seawalls designed to protect coastal cities when a wave twice that height arrives. March 11, 2011. Following a magnitude 9.1 earthquake, cameras across Japan's coast captured tsunami waves overtopping defenses and traveling 6 miles inland. The waves weren't breaking surf. They were rising surges traveling at 30 miles per hour, carrying boats, cars, buildings. The water continued inland for 20 minutes, and when it receded, entire towns had vanished. 18,000 people died. What makes this footage particularly haunting is how organized Japan was. Early warning systems, evacuation protocols, engineered defenses, and the ocean simply overwhelmed everything. Engineering can delay nature. It cannot stop it. Number 3. Campfire. The wildfire that moved faster than cars. Imagine a wildfire traveling at 1 football field per second, moving faster than traffic can evacuate. November 8, 2018. Dashcam footage shows residents fleeing Paradise, California, as the campfire consumed the town in hours. Wind gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour pushed flames through dry vegetation at speeds reaching 80 feet per second. The fire created its own weather system, generating fire tornadoes and ember showers that ignited structures miles ahead of the main fire. 85 people died, most in their vehicles trying to escape through smoke, so thick headlights were useless. The fire destroyed 19,000 structures and burned for 17 days. Modern firefighting has no strategy against fire that moves faster than evacuation. Number 2. Typhoon Haiyan. The super typhoon that drowned a city. Imagine a typhoon with winds exceeding 195 miles per hour, pushing a 20-foot storm surge that floods an entire coastal city. November 8, 2013. Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines as one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded at landfall. Wind speeds reached 195 miles per hour, sustained with gusts to 230. But the storm surge was what killed. Walls of water 20 feet high flooded coastal cities, particularly Tacloban, where thousands drowned as the ocean pushed miles inland. Security cameras and residents captured the moment the surge arrived, not as waves, but as a rising flood that didn't stop rising. Over 6,000 people died. Ships were pushed inland and deposited on top of buildings. Haiyan demonstrated that super typhoons are essentially liquid hurricanes combined with tsunamis. Number 1. Oroville Dam Spillway Collapse. The dam that nearly failed. Imagine a dam spillway disintegrating in real time while nearly 200,000 people downstream evacuate, knowing that if the dam fails, a 30-foot wall of water will arrive in minutes. February 11, 2017. Video footage captured the moment the main spillway at Oroville Dam, the tallest dam in the United States, began disintegrating. A crater formed in the concrete, expanded rapidly, and water began eroding the hillside beneath the dam. Engineers were forced to use the emergency spillway for the first time in the dam's history, but that structure began failing too. Nearly 200,000 people in Yuba and Sutter counties were evacuated as engineers worked frantically to lower the reservoir level. The crater in the main spillway grew to 3 football fields in size. If the dam had failed, the wall of water would have been catastrophic. The evacuation succeeded. The dam held. But the footage shows how close California came to its worst disaster. 12 moments. 12 proofs that nature operates on scales of power we measure but never control. From lightning that strikes beaches to waves that climb buildings, from tornadoes that hunt their hunters to wildfires that outrun cars, every captured moment teaches the same lesson. Respect isn't fear, it's wisdom. The planet we inhabit is more powerful, more unpredictable, and more indifferent than we want to believe. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, these forces don't ask permission.